Chris, sources close to Kevin Durant told me today that the meeting further solidified his belief that Oklahoma City is his likely decision here in the next few days, that he will likely return there. Teammates in Oklahoma City believe he is coming back. There's a tremendous amount of momentum for Durant right now to return there. But the meetings this weekend, he still wants to take them. He's going in with an open mind. And, you know, right now, as an organization, there's a great deal of confidence that they've made their case and convinced Kevin Durant to return.
Now, Woj, you were the first to report on the 6 teams that Kevin Durant is going to be speaking to during this free agent process. Which one of those teams out there, besides Oklahoma City, has a chance to walk into that meeting and really change his mind?
Sources close to Durant tell me there are 2, but Golden State has the best chance among the 5 other teams that are coming in. They have recruited him, the players have recruited him all year, and it's continued even after the playoff series when Oklahoma City blew that 3-1 lead to Golden State. Draymond Green has continued to stay in contact with Durant. They're going to continue to be very aggressive with him. They're trying to sell Durant on the idea that Steph Curry, he needs more help, that he cannot continue to play and score and shoot at the level, the load that they've asked him to carry, and they're going to be real aggressive. The other team are the Clippers, and I'm told that his mind is still open about LA. He loves the city. He spends a lot of time there in the offseason, close relationship with Chris Paul, and Steve Ballmer intrigues him. And one other point on Golden State, Kevin Durant likes the idea of being in the tech center of the country. And the fact that Steve Ballmer's Microsoft background, those are some of the ancillary things that do intrigue him. But right now, going in, his mind is, his thought process is focused on what Golden State, and to a lesser degree, what the Clippers will try to sell him on in those meetings.
Yeah, Golden State certainly sending a murderer's row out to see him. Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson, the best of the best, out to woo the former MVP. Bobby, you have been part of an organization that prepared for a meeting like this. 2010, the Nets, one of the finalists with LeBron James, trying to lure LeBron to Brooklyn. It didn't work out with the Nets at the time. But what is the preparation like? Take us inside the room in the days before one of these meetings.
Well, Chris, I envy the teams that are going to meet with Durant because they actually have a product to sell on the court. When we were in New Jersey, we were coming off a 12-win team, playing in Newark, new ownership, not much to really sell. We were selling hope and the future. These teams have all been proven to have been winners, either been in the finals, have won a championship. And what you're selling Durant is not just about now, but about the future as far as what players he's going to be able to play with cap space this current year and also next year.
Well, let me follow up with you on this quickly because you wrote expertly on LaMarcus Aldridge and what he did in the process he went through last year and what teams did well in going to LaMarcus Aldridge and what didn't work with LaMarcus Aldridge. How important is it for a team to get their message right and to understand what the player wants when they're in the room?
Well, it's paramount in this process because this is their only chance as an organization. San Antonio, and they'll be impressive in their meeting with him because they have as much to sell as anybody. They do, you know, he went to college in Austin for a year, not far away. But what they sold Aldridge on was, you know, what impressed everybody in that room was there were no rings. Nobody on the Spurs came in like Pat Riley and dropped their rings on the table. They didn't talk about what they had done there, the 5 championships. They didn't make any promises. They talked about the future there. They talked about how he'd fit in. I think when you have a championship group like they have in San Antonio, like in Golden State, and the talent they have with the Clippers, you know, it's a matter of knowing what's important to him. And what's important to Kevin Durant, and you're seeing it in this process, it is winning. And he needs to be sold on winning.
Bobby, when you have a situation like this, do you play to your strengths as a team, or do you try to find out what this guy wants to hear?
Well, I think you leave the bells and whistles at home, and you really just focus on basketball only. You know, you leave the marketing people kind of outside of the room. You don't worry about the videos and the pamphlets and really selling your city, but it's all about your team on the court And how can we get better if Durant is part of this?
Woj, one of the teams that's made some significant moves over the last few weeks, the New York Knicks, Derrick Rose, the newest member of the organization. Now you have a nice-looking threesome with Derrick Rose, Kristaps Porzingis, and Carmelo Anthony forming that core. The Knicks, they want a meeting with Kevin Durant. Where does that stand?
Carmelo Anthony has been all over Kevin Durant, sources tell me. He's been in contact with him every day. I'm also told that Durant has heard from Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah, who is very likely to end up with the Knicks here once we get into the free agency period. They are certainly the front runner for him. He's already been part of trying to convince him to go to New York with him. The Knicks, I'm told, still at this hour, are trying to set up an informal meeting at some point this weekend with Kevin Durant. The meetings are taking place out in the Hamptons, out on Long Island in New York, and that there's some momentum, some traction there for the Knicks to get some sort of a modified audience with Durant, but they would continue to be, you know, something of a long shot in this process.
Why do you think Durant has been reluctant up until this point to consider a team like New York? Is it as simple as they're just not on that elite level yet? Is it more than that?
You know, I'm told, you know, he grew up in the East, and he loves visiting New York, I'm told. He's not completely sold he wants to live all the time. You live here on a full-time basis. You know, the organization, you know, certainly there's been the dysfunction that's gone on in recent years here, the losing, but there is a core there that's appealing to him. Porzingis, Carmelo, who he's very close with, and now Derrick Rose. But he sees the Knicks as a team right now that's just, he wants to win championships starting the day, whether he stays in Oklahoma or goes anywhere else. Is that team at a championship level the day I walk in the door? I'm told he's not convinced the Knicks are that.
All right, we're going to talk a lot more about Kevin Durant over the next hour and a half, I'm sure. But let's move on to somebody else. The next guy on that list, Al Horford, the Atlanta Hawks power forward center, maybe the best big man available after Kevin Durant comes off the board. Woj, where do things stand with Al Horford as he enters free agency?